Guys, gals, and in between pals, welcome back to Resistance Radio, the only show that is giving you the true voices from inside the resistance. As always, my name is Dane Snudden. I'm one of your co hosts and also a super communist, according to our comment section. And I am joined, as always, by the Chaos Queen herself and autistic gender bender, Emma Embers.
Put a respect on my name, thank you.
And today we are joined by a returning friend of the show, fresh off of No Kings 3, which is what we're going to be discussing in today's episode. The man with the record for most times on the show, Jay Gibbs.
Now, is it still a record? If this is my first Resistance radio.
Oh,
That's true. That's true.
That
It's
is
reset.
true.
Yeah, so I don't know. Does it carry over?
That's a good question.
It's kind of like those, like the Baltimore Colts.
Yeah.
Right.
And the Indianapolis Colts.
Right. True.
Still have the same records. The Colts all the
True.
time.
I mean, they still
Johnny U.
say that the Packers have the most, Super
NFL
Bowl.
champions.
Right.
Right, yep.
So.
I'm keeping my title until somebody tells me otherwise.
Right. You can let us know in the comments. But if you guys are not familiar with Jay, I would recommend going back and watching episode 8, back when we were Left for Dead, no longer associating with that name. And we talk.
Respect our new name and pronouns.
Oh yeah, we are missing somebody.
Good.
Oh, we need
The
a
third one?
Oh, we forgot to boot up James.
Yes,
Let me boot up James. James!
Sometimes we forget to boot up our AI co-host here.
I love that you guys have that app, though.
I know, it's so great.
Uses up a lot of water. All right.
I just kind of fall into the seat.
Now that our James bot is here, we are also joined by
Number
James
one
Harris.
cogsucker.
Okay.
I better not hear any of you call me a clanker.
Oh, it's coming.
What if I? No.
All right.
No, but in all seriousness, whoever that was, I don't know anything about you, but at least your heart's in the right place.
Actually, I can say a little bit of a tease for next episode. That next Monday we did figure out who that person is, and we're going to have them in the studio.
Oh, that's exciting.
You don't get to ask any more questions.
Yes.
Nope.
For
Face your accuser.
we'll
It's
provide
happening.
context next episode. Stay tuned. It's going to be fun. But we have a lot to talk about. As I mentioned in the intro, we are all fresh off of No Kings 3.
The Kingening.
The Kingening, yes.
The de-kingening, not the kinging.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
2 was the re-kinging.
Right.
Is
This
this
is
the
the
uncrowning?
de-kinging. That's 4.
Yeah.
The
And-
absquatulating of the king.
That's when he absquatulates instead of
If you stick a knife in my back 9 inches and pull it out 6 inches, there's no progress. You pull it all the way out, that's not progress. The progress is healing the wound that the blow made.
People are suffering. People are dying. Entire ecosystems are collapsing.
But do you know what the most significant addiction crisis in America is today? It is the greed of the billionaire class.
This country was built on gangs. I think this country still is run on gangs. Republicans, Democrats, the police department, the FBI, the CIA, those are gangs. You know what I mean?
To the people who own it, that unless you're free, the machine will be prevented from working at all.
It's called the American dream because you have to be asleep to believe it.
We were all involved in some way, shape, or form with the event in our city. Jay and I were doing security along with producer Pete. Emma was filming live on Pete the Noob on Twitch, which will be in the link in the description. James was tabling for a wonderful organization. So we all kind of got to see different aspects, I guess, of the event. If you're not familiar with No Kings, I feel like I shouldn't have to explain that, really. I mean, it's the most attended or most highest protest turnout ever in U.S. history. So
We'll have a special guest on later as well, another organizer that was part of No Kings as well.
yes. And so, yeah, I mean, I guess, first of all, thoughts from everybody. We did it a little bit differently in our city compared to other cities, and we're gonna get into that a little bit because I have seen a lot of fiery takes, especially from even people on the left, about No Kings.
I have several thoughts.
Yeah.
As somebody who helped organize.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. How? Tell us a little bit about that, because you were kind of doing a lot of the behind the scenes work on that.
Really, what I did was just to help connect people. Everybody was pulling a lot of weight, but there was a lot of moving parts, especially when, like you said, we did a little bit differently in our city. We did not work with the city or the police. They aren't there to protect us. They're there to protect private interests. This is the people. We're there expressing our rights. So it does present some unique challenges logistically. And day of, as security, we had a big change where we were threatened with arrest right out of the gate.
Had to completely change our route.
We planned to take the street. We didn't give the police anything, but they gave us a little bit of, hey, if you take this road that we think you're going to take, there will be arrests. So I got to give a huge kudos to our security team and our safety leads, because they were able to, on the fly, in the moment, change the route, communicate it, and we were able to have a really, really good event.
Yeah, I mean, and we wanted, when we set out organizing this, we wanted to do an event that was a little bit more disruptive than the typical kind of No Kings parade. I've seen a lot of people call them that.
Or festival, I've seen.
Festival, right.
Like in the bustling metropolis of De Pere.
Yeah, and it was a great turnout for, even the weather that we had. I mean, it's hard, obviously, to gauge how many people you have at a giant protest like that. Numbers are ranging anywhere from 1,300 to about 3,000 from what I'm seeing.
Yeah, basing it off the fact that we had around 1,500 at the Alex Preddy event, there were far more people at this event at its peak. So when I was sectioning off people during the march to do my counting, I was able-ish with a hard estimate of a soft estimate of probably about 2,500.
Yeah.
Which I feel is a little bit more accurate than 15, and I feel like 3 would be hopeful.
Yeah. And then James, this was your first No Kings. What was your opinion on everything?
Well, I did a little bit different. I was tabling, so I didn't go along the marches, but protest marches are protest marches.
How was your tabling experience?
The tabling went pretty good. There were no rude people. There were a bunch of. I had some interesting discussions with a couple people. It was people from all walks of life. That guy was, I forget what he was. People from all walks of life. Some people really concerned about their bills, general cost of living. We also had some really educated people, some professors. There's a lot of different reasons why people cared. I do just think that's cool, but when you build momentum like this, I think it's important to always, you got to be cautious that you don't lose what the movement is actually about.
Right.
And so that was one thing that I kind of wanted to bring up, and we kind of joked about it a little earlier. I just wonder how many of these we're going to have before. I mean, we are seeing increases in people joining the organizations that are putting it together. Like our local anti-war group, James was, representing Citizen Action at a table. I'm sure there was a lot of people that came up to the DSA table. So I just wonder how many of these indivisible branded No Kings are we going to have before people are oh shit, there's other orgs. Yeah,
I think it's coming up quick. I think it's exponential. I think every time there is an event, more and more people are introduced to leftism, which is why I support the No Kings movement.
Yeah.
As a entry-ist way of meeting the masses where they are. You get people activated.
I will say probably the most surprising thing for me was that at this event, there were multiple speakers who got on stage and were just openly socialist to tons of applause.
Yep.
And that is not something I'm used to under any circumstances.
No, it was very uplifting.
I was as an outspoken socialist, I was shocked because we did have a very diverse audience.
Yeah, I mean, I do agree as well. It was really cool to see that and see a semblance of class consciousness, in that audience.
And that's kind of where it was a perfect. What you had said was a perfect kind of segue into what I got out of that with meeting people where they are. You saw people who are struggling paycheck to paycheck. You saw people who were in the professional world, but everybody you talk to was in the working class, you know? And so, like, if those people, as they come in and they see other people, you know, that's a great way to raise class consciousness. And if you design and you plan your events correctly, which I feel like our coalition did.
Yeah.
Correct.
We rejected the centrist kind of appeasement.
Kumbaya,
yeah, like, oh, we're just gonna, you know, hold hands until it
Call
gets
the
better.
cops, get a permit.
And, you know, it gets old, and I think for a lot of people, when they find, there's people that go to these and go, okay, but what next?
Yeah.
Right.
And for a long time, you know, over the last, when I say a long time, you know, the last 15 months,
Right.
Yeah.
there wasn't an answer until these leftist orgs started partnering, started getting involved, meeting people where they were, and then giving them an answer to what's next. And I think that's why you're seeing so much participation in these other orgs, is because there are people who are just looking for a home for what drives them.
Yeah, I would be really curious to see, and I don't know how we would even go about getting these numbers, but like nationwide, seeing like different organizations that have national chapters nationally, right? Like seeing like DSA before No Kings versus like right now, and seeing how the that would be like really interesting, or, you know, anti-war groups and that type of thing.
Yeah.
DSA just hit over 100,000.
Yeah.
And how much of that do you think is ascribed to the success of the No Kings?
I think a lot of it has to do with No Kings. A lot of it also has to do with Zoran's run.
Yeah, which
it's a big
we talked about. If you haven't already, check out our video with Ashik, the national co-chair of DSA. We talked a little bit more about that.
Yep.
But one thing I wanted.
What happened last time we were here?
And No Kings?
No,
Or in this,
when America was in a similar position.
Well, usually, historically, I don't think this was the answer you were looking for. It's war, which we're seeing right now.
That's part of the answer, but there's another part. America has been in a scarily similar situation before. Like the early 1920s, the Gilded Age, where you had the wild corruption, blatantly corrupt government, the richest of the rich, the poorest of the poor. And what happened then?
Great Depression.
Well, you had the Great Depression, but what else happened?
I mean, labor movement.
You had labor movement. You had a lot.
The New Deal.
The rise of the socialists.
You had the rise of the socialists.
Yeah.
But that movement, the moment it started getting anywhere, it immediately got co-opted and taken over completely by reform capitalists.
Yep.
Yeah. And I think, you know, that is
I have a hot take about that, actually.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's something I like to talk about because it doesn't get talked about a lot, I guess, being over 100 years now.
Yeah.
The reason that the New Deal came around was because of the existence of the USSR. It wasn't just progressives pushing him. It was, give us this or we're going to get that.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think if we want to see meaningful change here in the Imperial Core, we need international solidarity, and that means you have to provide critical support to actually existing socialist nations, because having a multipolar world is good for everybody.
Yeah.
Right.
But you need a USSR. You need a boogeyman to the capitalists. They're not afraid of an unorganized working class. But
Right.
They are terrified of us being able to point to a successful nation like the USSR, or I would argue China.
Right.
Yeah.
And go, I mean, we could do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, one thing, kind of talking about that too, and I've been seeing, I mean, I'm the most chronically online in leftist spaces on this panel, and I have been seeing a lot of like takes where people are just completely denouncing No Kings.
I've seen, it's a hard split.
And I want to kind of talk about that a little bit, because I think we'll probably all be in agreement. But kind of like you had mentioned, I almost kind of look at it as like the kiddie pool of sorts of getting in. And also, too, the takes of people denouncing it are coming from people that aren't organizing.
Well, and that's it. You know who I'm seeing it from is from people who I don't see out when I'm in the street.
Right, exactly.
It's only when I'm on Facebook.
It's always it's
or
always
only when I'm on Reddit.
it's always the people on TikTok that are like,
Keyboard
you shouldn't
warriors.
go to No Kings, and then they're not involved in their
Join a real
communities.
org. It's like,
Right.
oh yeah, what org are you in? Nah.
Yeah.
Well, and like what I've been saying to those people has been that like what we did is we took this over from what was a very ineffective organization that was doing nothing with the No Kings.
Mhm.
Like they built all
They were
this momentum.
doing the
with it.
event.
Yeah, they did the event, built
Like,
up
we
all
did
this
it.
momentum, and then that was
See you next time.
Yeah, and but it does give us
Here's
a
our
nice
act.
little it does give us a nice little doorway into that kind of like more moderate, liberal kind
Absolutely.
of mindset where we can actually start pulling people over to our side, because there's more people that still showed up to our event that was supposedly the more radical,
Less
anti-war,
family-friendly.
yeah, less family friendly event. There were more people that showed up to that than to the official one.
I'm
And
curious
so-
actually with James not being as left as most of us. What's your take on that? Like with the effectiveness and like what you think people can or should get out of those?
Okay, to be brutally honest, I think, like, at the end of the day, it is a peaceful protest following all applicable laws. That is 2 steps greater than like and subscribe if you care about this.
True.
What's in the middle?
Sorry,
just out of curiosity.
What's the full scale?
I'm building the scale now.
Yeah.
No,
Okay.
I just put him on
A
the
book
spot.
club. A book club.
Okay.
Yeah, no.
Okay, no. Step one is like and share on the internet. Step 2 is write your own opinions and put them on the internet.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Step 3 is going
Correct.
to a peaceful, law-abiding protest.
Yeah.
And so I will say with ours, and that's something that we kind of struggled with internally as organizers, because there also is a lot of tendencies for people on the left to just want to immediately jump to stuff like that.
Yeah.
And that's something that has to be built up.
Be
And, like,
cultivated.
Mao-
Well, it has to be led by the masses.
Right.
Sorry,
And,
I mean to-
yeah, no, for sure. But like, Mao talks about building the advanced, and so you have to have avenues where you can, you can't just do advanced movements like that with people that aren't like that. And that was one of the reasons we chose not to stick to our
I was just gonna
original
say, I'm like,
route.
could you imagine if we had just said, nah,
So
we're
I mean,
gonna take that
just
main
going off
road
what you
and-
said, I mean, I definitely agree. I'm just saying, like, in our specific scenario, we didn't get a permit. We didn't.
We did not follow all applicable laws.
Right,
And technically,
yeah.
they could have arrested us for taking any of those streets.
Right.
Alright. Well, okay, but I've got more to add.
But I
It
do
was
agree with
maybe
your
one
overall
step
take, though.
above the step that
It
you
is
were
very
going.
entry level, though.
It is entry, but I don't think that's actually the point.
Okay.
So, like, that's 2 steps above liking and sharing something, but that's way more than the vast majority of people do.
Right.
Right? So you're providing an entry level to build a coalition of people who at least have the possibility of doing something actual if you really need them. You're laying the groundwork for
People
that.
that actually come out to show up to things.
Yeah. Like, if you had, like, instead of holding up a sign, you have people, like, showing up to form a human chain when ICE shows up.
Yeah,
You know?
or I mean, marshaling. Like
Yeah, you got to build up to that. You can't just ask 500 people to show up. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
The point
Face of
isn't the
armed
protest
people.
itself.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
like we were able
like
to
acclimating people.
Yes.
we were able to train
I like that.
like dues-paying Democrats to marshal in an event that we didn't have a permit for, and
Yep.
like
And they were glad to do it.
and they showed up and they did a phenomenal job, and
Yeah.
so it is like
Appleton had a permit.
right,
And did you see what their $5,000 got them? An MRAP.
yeah, and
It's a mine-resistant, ambush-proof vehicle.
and
Which
used
GBPD
primarily
also has, by the way.
overseas.
And they're just because you tried to go there and there were just regular ass cars blocking like all the ways in.
And they also got to reimburse the city for lost revenue for the parking meters downtown because they blocked off the roads.
That's garbage.
yeah,
That's what their 5,000. That's why.
no, and the
Sorry,
the
when I found that out, I
literally had a
lost
sign
my
that
mind.
said,
Yeah.
Free parking till noon.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they didn't need to do that. They could have just hung aside, no parking afternoon. Like they could.
And so I think that's just like something that needs, and I'm sure that it was done in other places for sure. This
I would
kind
say
of
ours
call.
was an aberration of
Yeah.
having a non-permitted
Yeah.
event.
Yeah, and I mean, more of that needs to happen as we continue to have more No Kings, and then hopefully we can get to a point where it's not just like a 4 times a year event.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, no, people are engaged in the struggle.
work.
Right, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Interesting. I can tell you, as someone who spends actually more time in right-leaning spaces than I do left, there are exactly 2 lines that were repeated
Oh my
infinitely.
God. Can I guess one?
I know you're gonna nail
I
it,
have
but
one of
okay.
them.
Congratulations, we haven't had a king for 250 years.
Really, really close. It
Okay.
was. I woke up this morning. There's still no king.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so you did it. I saw that.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
there's the next week is our No Bigfoot march because that
Yeah.
doesn't exist either.
And
But that,
Well, that.
I mean, you-
Bigfoot
of
I
course I
think
believe in
Bigfoot exists.
that's actually really, really interesting now, right? Because.
Is it?
It is. I agree because I think I know where he's. Sorry, I don't want to.
That's fine.
I'm curious where you're going because I.
let's see.
We're
Let's see if
aligned.
you're right. Okay, so people on the right, I blame the media for this and the shit that they've been fed, but they do not see the shit Trump is doing as being any different from what Obama or Biden did.
Correct.
Especially with Biden and COVID.
Yep.
yeah.
Biden and COVID is a big part of it.
I see that a lot.
But
And then Obama and his healthcare plan, but I mean, it was your guys' healthcare plan before it was his.
It was the
so-
one that you guys kneecapped.
Right.
We could
But-
get a proper single payer.
yeah, they literally think that every president after George Bush has been doing this exact same thing. It's just that Trump is the only one honest enough to be open about it.
And
They're
and
not all the way wrong. Either,
and-
because
and-
under
Not on
George Bush,
everything.
Not
under
entirely
George Bush is
wrong.
when the Patriot Act came in.
Right.
DHS wasn't
right.
instigated or the inception of ICE. DHS as a whole.
Yeah.
They are wrong.
Obama stepped
I
up
mean,
drone
they're
strikes by
not-
like 1,200%.
The thing that they don't
And actually, they're not wrong. Sorry, I was gonna say they're not wrong, and they prove our point.
well, the thing that they don't understand
It's not
though,
it's a bipartisan issue.
the thing that they don't
Yeah,
understand
Exactly.
that I partially blame Indivisible as an organization for is that all of the people that are involved, at least like in our coalition and a lot in other states, the anti-war movement, right? DSA,
SDS.
the labor movement, SDS, like those are people that have been
PSL.
advocating against not COVID specifically, but like things that Biden did, things that
Imperialism
Obama did,
under
and-
Obama,
right.
when you bombed Yemen.
And so almost in
Yep.
a way, having kind of this like corporate, like, you know, Indivisible where there's no kings all at the
sanitized,
same
yeah.
time
Yeah.
is kind of doing us a disservice in that regard, I think.
I think you're right, but I would like to push back a little bit because yes, you're not wrong. Obama was the deporter in chief. Obama liked bombing schools
and hospitals
and hospitals, and
And 16-year-olds.
in Yemen,
like you don't need to convince me
16-year-old
that
Americans.
you don't need to convince me that these presidents were bad, but there is a pretty clear difference between Obama being the deporter in chief and Trump doing things in a
Using
way
terror
that's
tactics.
yes,
Yes.
literal
Yeah.
terror attack.
Oh,
That's
absolutely.
the
Yeah,
that's
Jack-
It's
the
not
Trump
a
line.
is
one-to-one
worse.
comparison at all. Trump
Yeah,
is
I
objectively
think that's something
the worst
where
one.
But
Dems get
they-
hung up is they go, "You're saying Obama and Trump are the same?" Oh God, no. Trump is a direct consequence of Obama, though,
Yeah.
But
because we tolerated that, and then we tolerated worse and worse and
Yep.
worse.
It always gets worse.
but that
Because you're still choosing an evil when you pick the lesser of them.
but that's the point though is because
Damn right it is. Can you say that louder real quick?
Well, I say you're still picking an evil when you choose the lesser one.
Thank you.
but they think that Obama did terror attacks on conservative Christians.
Right.
Like
Which
they don't
did not happen.
they don't see
Which
the
is not.
difference. Like that's how much persecution fetish stuff they've been fed.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, that's fair.
That, yeah. And so, I guess it's
Okay,
just,
so that's the one line.
Yeah.
We had the second line. Oh shit, which one did we go over? Oh, still no kings. And the other line was paid protesters.
I see. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a common.
That's every time there's a protest, we're
Man.
paid protesters.
I mean, where's my Soros?
I would say
quotes?
if I had a nickel for every time George Soros paid me,
on top
I
of
still
whatever
would
he,
have a fucking nickel.
on top of whatever he
well,
paid you.
we learned.
Yeah, on top of whatever he paid me, I'd have a
We
nickel.
learned actually in a previous episode that Emma actually was Soros funded
I was
at one
funded.
time.
I was
Really?
Soros funded too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know you guys tricked me onto an Illuminati podcast.
Open your third eye, brother.
We are having it in the basement.
Right.
It's all making sense.
Yeah.
This isn't actually Pete's basement.
I'm blinking
this is,
twice.
This is the Triangle's basement.
But
Triangle
no,
Pete.
it's so funny, like a lot of their logic. Like I've seen a lot of like red state governors and stuff where they will give an example of like, you know, PSL or like FRSO having
signs
the
made?
same
Yeah.
signs at the protests, and they're like,
Almost
look,
like we're a
somebody...
national org.
It's like
Right.
Because it costs a
with
lot
money.
of money in organizing to get poster board markers
and make your
tape.
own sign.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's because somebody says something really fucking clever. It gets turned into a chant. It gets put on everybody's sign because it's really
It's
fucking
catchy.
hard to think of the slogans.
Yeah.
And of course it spreads.
Yeah.
Like
You know,
my
it's-
my favorite sign was a little like 9-year-old kid had a sign that said Trump is a poopy pants.
Yeah, that was
I
great.
like that.
I guarantee. No, let's be brutally
And
honest.
he actually,
I guarantee you there is leadership in several political organizations that had direct influence over the messages they tried to kind of pseudo make go viral by convincing people to put them on signs.
Oh,
I guarantee-
absolutely.
Absolutely.
That is still way better than Trump's crowds holding up the sign that just says bigger paycheck.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same
I
exact
liked
sign.
how dumbed down the campaign signs got this last go around for Trump. I don't know if you saw some of them. Where it was
Bigger
like,
paycheck.
like Kamala dangerous, Trump safe.
Yeah.
And I'm like, we're just caveman in it now.
Well, I mean, they have such a fear of electricity. It really feels like they go back to before we even discovered fire.
That's because they're the kind of people that don't conduct electricity very well.
Yeah, real unfrosted Pop
And
Tarts
it's
that
weird
aren't the
because
cool
these
kind,
are also
like
the
Rick
same
Ross.
people that would claim that Brondo is good for you because it has electrolytes.
Or colloidal silver too. You know, that's always a fun one.
And to be clear, though, we are not talking about your average person that leans are. We're specifically
Oh, yeah,
talking,
you're talking
about the
dyed in the
leadership.
wool.
The
The
30%
people that
that will
push it.
never.
Because nobody's immune to propaganda. Everybody fucking falls for it.
This
I
show
think
is propaganda.
It is. Most of us
That's
have
gonna
been
get
on the
clipped.
other side of it at some point. Like,
I was raised a fundamentalist Christian.
Yeah.
Since that part's gonna get clipped. Hi, BSR.
And yeah, I think kind of going into the whole kind of slogan and organizing around that, I know that that's also like one gripe too that a lot of leftists have is that, you know, No Kings is just a generic like
There's no call to action.
right,
There's no,
you know, yeah, and
it's just word soup.
right, and so I think that's up to us as organizers to kind of
Beef I have with the word authoritarianism. too.
call people to action when they show up.
right,
Yeah.
exactly, and I mean, yeah,
Which
I
we
mean,
did.
And I mean, yeah, Jay, you spoke at ours representing the Wisconsin Labor Party. So what were, I mean, kind of some things going into speaking that you were like thinking about including to kind of draw people into calls to action?
Yeah. I mean, like with the Labor Party, our biggest thing is trying to build that independent power. Where I know DSA, and I could be wrong, I'd happy to be corrected. Right now, they aren't looking to build like their own party. They're working within the Democrat Party to affect change as like almost like a caucus, right?
I wouldn't, not really, no. It's
Okay.
more for just a movement.
Okay.
And a.
But not looking to like run candidates. And,
Yeah. Well, you know what? That's a good segue. Actually, we have my other co-lead in the studio here.
It's actually really good timing.
Yeah.
Wait,
So-
swap, because I gotta pee.
Hey, fam. Happy to answer
Garnet?
these questions.
Welcome, Garnet DeGrave, to the show, returning again.
After the last No Kings.
Yes, after the last No
absolutely.
Kings.
Long time no see.
Yeah. Yeah. So as far as DSA is concerned, this is something that comes up for us basically every convention. So every 2 years we get delegates from all the chapters across the nation together in Chicago. And we talk about like what is the direction of our organization for the next 2 years. We elect out of those delegates what's called our National Political Committee, which is our ruling body. And then they decide anything that we couldn't get to on the agenda.
Oh, sure.
So this came up in like 7 or 8 resolutions. We had 100 plus on the docket, and like that spans everything from like international work through
Like your whole
you know,
like platform, right?
the whole thing. We organize on a ton of different topics. But everything is very by and for the working class, right? So that also includes, thank you, sorry, yeah,
Clutch, Pete.
when sound equipment doesn't work, I sound like this now. Anyway, so we talk a lot about, like, just do we have the power to create a third party? And is that third party going to be viable?
Question.
So, you know, at the last convention, the answer was for us to start building power so that we could become a viable party.
Okay.
Right now, we currently operate as we are not a party. We are not grabbing party lines. We're not grabbing ballot lines. We're not doing any of that right now. Right now, we are in the let's build power phase. We are in the let's see where we can get this phase. We are in the, let's absolutely run candidates when it makes sense. I'm a part of the Socialist Majority Caucus within the DSA. So our goal is that, you know, there's the overall DSA line is that there are many paths to a socialist world. And one of them is the ballot line. But that's like one line, right? A lot of people think that the DSA is about voting their way into revolution, and that is certainly a path that we take and a tactic that we use, but there are many other tactics that we engage in. And not everybody in the org is down for that, right? Which is why this is constantly a conversation.
Oh, I'm sure.
So right now we are building power because we are not grabbing ballot lines. That does mean that our candidates do have to decide if they want to run on the Democratic Party line, or if they want to run as an independent, or if they want to, if they live in a state where Working Families Party has a ballot line, if they want to run there. You know, and what makes, right now we are in a situation where we say, whatever makes sense in your region, whatever's going to get your ass in that seat, like, let's do that. Do that. And like, definitely a lot of people get really mad when DSA candidates work with the Democratic Party, and like, certainly there are
you need the infrastructure first.
You just need the infrastructure, yeah. And like, we have access to van and we have access to some of these tools, but
there's so much more that
and it's so expensive that like our dues can be used for so many more important things that are
like more present,
that are not van access, when we could just like maybe shake a few Democrats' hands, and like the things that are gonna get passed in the next 5 years. Probably pretty similar to what the Democrats want passed anyway.
Right. Because you gotta start somewhere.
We gotta start somewhere, man. And like, we gotta, who are we gonna, right? We get to Congress, who are we gonna caucus with? How do you think people get, how do you think,
not a whole lot of Greens running around in DC these days.
How do people think that they're gonna get their caucus, or how do people think that they're gonna get their committee assignments? If you don't have anyone to caucus with. Right, so that's why it's a power analysis rather than like a party decision.
Like a path to them.
It's also one of the reasons why we love what the Labor Party is working on.
That was perfect.
That's one of the reasons why we love what the Labor Party is working on. Because like, damn, I have a lot of people that would be interested. Yeah, there's a lot of people that I know are interested in running for office, but they realize that for wherever they are, that means working with the Democrats, and they're just not willing to do it. It's hard. And it's painful, and God, it sometimes feels like giving yourself a paper cut, like 1,000 of them. Yeah, like death by 1,000 paper cuts sometimes. And we see that happen to our candidates, right? I think a lot of people, you know, the DSA still has a 70% approval rating for AOC, but those that do not approve of her are very vocal about it. And super real, and so like that is also something that always comes up in convention.
Sure.
And you know, that was on the docket, and like that did end up getting slated to NPC for decision, but like that was on the docket. That's real, and that's part of why we passed the Align with BDS resolution at convention, was because we felt like we did need a line in the sand for candidates. And so the line in the sand was, are you going to take funding from, or are you ever going to materially support Israel? And are you ever going to take funding from somebody that materially supports Israel? And like, that's a real line in the sand, and that was a contentious topic as far as, you know, when we are looking at building power, but it was one that, you know, eventually did pass. And like, that's, you know, so that's real. So that also puts some candidates that we've worked with in the past out of the running. We also passed a resolution that only DSA members are allowed to be endorsed. So
that makes sense.
DSA members only are
at
allowed
least.
to be endorsed. Yeah, like in some places, like we were looking at like Ahmad, friend of the show.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked about endorsing him in the past, but that's not an option anymore unless he decides to become a member. And
And kind of on the flip.
and also he doesn't necessarily want to, so that's fine.
Contrary to what the llama says about everybody in Green Bay that's left wing being
DSA is the largest.
I would love DSA. I mean, DSA is over 100 members
DSA
now.
has more members than the Wisconsin Dems.
Yeah, DSA is over 100 members now in this region. I think we're at like 120-ish.
Hey, there you go.
But we certainly are not. We are not Ahmad. We are not Eric Gunrich.
Yeah.
We are not. There's a lot of these.
Somehow Ryan Spotty.
Yeah.
Somehow Ryan's body.
Yes.
Yeah, basically I think there's a lot of mystery around it, and I am kind of noodling on how can we dispel some of that mystery without creating a list of socialists for people to go after in a Red Scare.
House Un-American
right?
committee.
I'm always looking to protect my people and make sure that they're not taking risks they don't need to.
Right.
Yes.
So, but at the same time, like, we're a legitimate organization with legal status, and
that's what I'm excited with, like the Labor Party is being able to work with like DSA, but then also being able to just have the ability where they have a 10-point platform, they have party lines, and they're looking like their sole goal is to not rush, but like that's their endpoint.
That's why I joined Labor Party, because like this was like a real strategy on the ground, and I wanted to support Matt and those folks.
A lot, not just in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Like Wisconsin's picking up a lot, but like nationwide, it's picked up. I think they're at like 13 or 14 state chapters now.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I think that kind of
and we need a labor.
Tying that
Yeah,
in.
we do. Absolutely.
And while we have you here, Garnet, kind of what I was talking about with Jay, because you also spoke at No Kings, and we were talking earlier about how like anti-capitalist it was with applause.
Is this the point where I take off my DSA hat and put on my Citizen Action hat?
Hi. I mean, kind of both.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of like applause for calling out the ruling class.
And like naming socialism as, like James said, like how did, like you said, they were like outspoken socialist and got applause.
Yeah. From a lot of people, not just the 4 revolutionaries that typically show up to the meeting.
Right. No, absolutely.
We're all behind her.
Yeah, absolutely. No, definitely. Like I put a line in there when I was talking about the $20 minimum wage, and like certainly in my opening I was talking about like we die from the lack that they create. Right. And like that's real.
I mean, and that hits. Like,
and that fucking hits. Absolutely.
Yeah,
which is why I also used it in my speech that was recorded for No Kings 2.
Could you imagine the reception you'd have gotten for introducing a $20 minimum wage 2 years ago? Just 2 years ago.
I actually can, because I tried.
Yeah.
How'd it was not great.
Yeah.
No, because I've been fighting for. I did.
In Green Bay, the so-called blood red Brown County,
right.
for CD8. And
the conversations that I have had around wages have shifted dramatically in the last 2 years. They've also shifted dramatically since 2020.
Oh, yeah.
By 2021, when all that housing inflation hit, and everybody was like, "Oh, actually, I started." We tried to start a tenants union here in Green Bay.
Yeah.
And once that inflation hit, the conversation around that changed. There was a real shift. Once we started seeing people get $300 increases in their rent.
Market. Yeah.
And like that happened to one of my friends, actually a DSA comrade that's disabled, and like how is that going to work for him, man? And like,
actually, I found it.
That's super real.
Online, just as you brought up rent and minimum wage.
Yeah.
I saw something interesting. I want your take on this too, as someone who's not as left. To play certain parts of the bourgeois class against themselves, basically, and introduce legislation to tie rent control to the minimum wage. So you're fighting employers, and you're putting employers and landlords against each other, because
let's fucking go.
Because if these landlords want to start charging $1,500 for a 2-bedroom, apartment,
Yeah.
They need a $25 minimum wage.
They do.
And if employers don't want to pay their people enough
Then
to
rent
live,
control.
guess what? Rent's going to be sitting at $650 a month.
Yeah.
That's a.
And then guess who's
interesting.
not getting blamed? The workers.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to show up.
I mean, real. Yeah, absolutely.
You-
It
Give
is.
me
It's
a second to
interesting.
formulate a thought.
Okay.
Well, and I will say this. So like the way we pulled out a 20, right? Because like the reality is we need like if we were to just index from inflation, we'd be at a 23. But if we, if we're looking at we Citizen Action landed at a 20 because it is the compromise, and we're super honest about that. I walked into Kristen Elfheim's office and I said, yeah, that is a compromise. Also, I need it. And like I got comrades starving, man. Like I can't.
Literally though.
I literally I have comrades skipping fucking meals. Like I'm not.
Food security in the richest country in the world is a crazy thing.
Right? I'm not doing that shit. I grew up in food insecure. A lot of people don't, especially when I first joined the DSA, there was this weird perception of me that I like came from like a solid upper middle class family, and I'm like, no.
Joke's on you.
I grew up on Wick.
I grew up thinking we were Italian because we used to have so much pasta, and then I figured out that it's just because spaghetti's cheap.
Spaghetti's real cheap, man.
I was like, wait, you mean we're Irish?
Spaghetti.
Like, we're Irish and French?
Yeah.
We're not even close to Italian?
Not even close.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just making sure.
Yeah.
Gibbs is a very Italian last name.
Yeah.
Naturally.
One of the ways I landed in healthcare organizing is because I, my family really struggled because of healthcare debt.
Yeah.
My dad made slightly more, because he owned his own business, so we would oscillate on and off of when we would qualify for Badger Care and other assistance. And so I was on and off of healthcare my whole life, right? And ended up with chronic lifetime debilitating conditions in my knees, which, I think you saw the other night when I was trying to get up and down off the floor. I ended up with these like chronic conditions because nobody was monitoring them, and on the top of that, like my sister died from a major genetic disorder, and my mother died a year later from cancer, and my family could not afford to feed ourselves, and like at the time our community was church, so church like people would just like drop groceries on our doorstep and like ding dong ditch, and that's very kind of them, and I'm so glad that they did that. Also, that does not need to be happening. Our government needs to be taking care of us.
Well,
bullshit.
that's it. We don't need charity.
Yeah.
We don't need fucking charity. We need a government that gives a shit.
We need a government that stops treating us like employees and start treating us like citizens.
Yeah,
absolutely. What was the reaction at the Citizen Action table? James, you were there.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. You had mentioned that you had a couple people come up, but like, was there lit that was being handed out, or?
Yeah.
I have all the lit.
Okay.
I have so much lit.
Okay.
I have lit coming out of my ass.
There was a decent amount of people that came up. Green Bay and Appleton were different vibes. Sure. Green Bay had a lot more people signing up on the mailing list. Appleton had a lot more people interested in the flyers.
Interesting.
It wasn't I thought it was going to be the 20 an hour minimum wage thing that would get the most attention, but it wasn't.
What was your big?
That's the one that got the most cheers in my speech.
We got
by like a lot.
It's kind of tied. The biggest interest was in stopping AI data centers and rent caps on utilities.
Honestly, that's amazing though, and I think it says a lot about where people are at.
Yeah.
Because they're like, my $20 an hour minimum wage isn't going to do anything for me.
Oh, we need
if I have no water.
It's weird.
Yeah. So we have a.
You want to sit on my lap?
You can sit on my lap.
I grew up the biggest lab.
Yeah, so with the data centers, that's something that I have been finding in my organizing. Greenleaf, Mishicot, like I'm in these spaces and I'm meeting with these people, and there are people that have joined the Stop Northeast Wisconsin Data Centers Facebook group, which we grew from 100 people to 3,000 people in 5 days.
That's insane.
Because of AI data
I know
centers.
Charlie Barron's on that one.
I know Charlie Barron. He's in there now.
Is he? Well,
he's showed up now, but like at first there was no
But you
Charlie
didn't need him
Barron.
for that, yeah.
I didn't need him for that.
Yeah.
We got to 3,000 without him. We're at about 35 now.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's great. But I was admitting people into this group, and like obviously I can see the other groups that they're in and whatever. And like when I tell you across the spectrum, I have Trump supporters in there.
Really?
And I have
Well, there are people. They're
far left anarchists, and
It's
you
something I
know?
find a lot, like being a union rep. Too.
Yeah.
I represent a ton of Trumpers.
Well, we
Union
talked.
shit.
But it's a great way to
talked
do that
about
class
that.
consciousness talk, where it's like, hey, you're right. Look, we don't agree on almost anything, but we both agree that the boss sucks.
So
Right.
we talked about that a little bit on our first episode with you, Jay, where you were talking about, like you can't go into a union workroom and drop off a stack of Judith Butler books,
Yeah.
and like how you have to kind of play towards what what the masses are actually feeling with that. And
I feel some type of way about this.
I don't know. I mean, I've been feeling very optimistic after this No Kings 3, especially compared to the other two. I don't know about you, Garnet and
I feel
Jay.
better after this one than I did after the second one.
Hell yeah. Fucking
Wait.
hell yeah.
Yeah.
Especially about class consciousness very specifically. Like very
Don't take the
specifically,
microphone.
Yeah,
one
this
of
was a
the,
big
one of
one.
the things that got the biggest cheers for me was when I was like, if you are making less than a living wage,
I'll turn
don't be mad at the person that is starving next to you and that's struggling next to you. Be mad at your bosses
fellow
and be
workers, not
mad
them.
at the lawmakers that enable them and are bribed by the billionaires. Like
Right.
that's what you need to focus your anger at. And I got a huge applause after that. I couldn't stop because I had too much content to get through. But that was so encouraging, the class consciousness in that
Well, I
moment.
tied that in with
and
my
you,
speech.
You hit it
Almost-
really hard.
almost the
What
same
was-
as
I
yours.
loved it.
What was
Yeah.
the quote? You said something about. I'm trying to remember it. I thought I had saved it. It was something
you can
about
have my speech.
winning
You're allowed.
winning everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was that?
Actually,
Okay.
Go ahead.
Let me
Pull
pull it
your
up because I
speech.
don't want to miss.
I think it was one of
miss
the, one of the
misquote
last
myself.
lines. I think, and that was one that I would love for our listeners to hear, because when you said that, Jay, I was like, that really struck a chord.
I think you and I both hit that one hard.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Once you're done, I've got my opinion ready.
Oh, perfect.
Oh, great. Fabulous.
I say, yeah, we don't need kings, we don't need
Pass me my
saviors,
water.
and we don't need permission. We have each other, and if we choose to stand together, we can have everything.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
But at the beginning, I did have one similar to yours.
Yeah.
And I think it tied it in well between our two.
Yeah.
Where it said, we were not meant to live under kings. Not kings in crowns, not kings in boardrooms.
Yes.
Yep.
Not kings protecting each other on an island while the
Yes.
rest of us fight to get by.
That was so
And
fucking good.
That
That
'cause
was
how
so
many-
good.
how many
I heard that
people
line and
had
I was like, oh
signs with,
shit.
like,
Oh, yeah.
Epstein stuff?
Well, I knew we
Yeah.
had to
Like-
make an Epstein reference.
Yeah.
One of the speakers had to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like,
No, you did a great job. Absolutely.
but
Just
like, I
like-
thought about it, and after I said it, I was like getting through that, I was like, man, that's me and Garnet had like very similar, like where it was like, don't be your fellow worker is not your enemy.
Well,
And it
that-
never is.
Citizen
Like-
Action and Labor Party are very. I mean, obviously, Labor Party grabbed the Wisconsin Labor Party grabbed the Citizen Action healthcare stuff for their
Yeah,
platform.
for the Wisconsin Forward. Yep.
Yeah. So we're super aligned in a lot of things. So it makes sense that the two of us would say kind of the same
Yeah,
thing.
but it's just so
Yeah.
cool that like in totally different ways we said
Yeah.
it, and it was like it touched on the
Yeah.
important shit. Whereas like it's an up and down problem.
Right.
Exactly. Yep.
I'm curious what
I
you
am
do.
not interested in the side to side. I'm interested in the up and down.
Yes.
I can't even look at him because he's behind me, so he's just looming.
We just float over one of your shoulders.
The angel and the demon are both.
No, we're just both demons.
Wait, while we're technically.
Highly functional podcast, if you couldn't tell, obviously.
Yeah.
Highly
Anyway.
functional.
Polished.
Wait,
Five
don't
of
put
us.
That there.
I didn't
6
just
of
do
us
that.
in
Put
this
that there.
stream.
Don't put that there.
No, I like that. Though.
Oh, oops.
Yeah.
Pink.
Yeah, baby.
Just looked like you were really excited to be here.
I didn't notice.
That
After
That was
sitting on-
already
that was-
sitting
after
there. for a
sitting
moment.
I know. I was gonna say at least.
Now,
At least
now
I'm not
you're
wrong.
gonna make me blush. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, good.
You didn't see anything. There was no jump cut just
Yes.
now.
Yeah,
Nope,
nothing.
and I've been here this entire
Seamless
time.
transition.
All right, so your idea, you want to turn the landlords and...
Oh, I would love to say it was my idea. It
In
was
the
one I
moment.
came across. It was one I stumbled on. I just thought it was really clever.
In the moment.
Tying,
The idea being
tying the
discussed.
minimum wage to rent control
Yes.
as a percentage. Like rent can only be X% of the minimum wage.
Indexing them
Yeah,
together.
thank you.
Yeah.
I knew there was a word.
I think that's a
You
great
said it
idea.
earlier.
At least I'm smart sometimes.
earlier, for example.
I really like the vibe of that idea, but I don't think it's gonna work. I don't think it would work if, like, the political support ain't there.
Well, no,
right?
but the other one
if
too
you
is like the ownership class. We might not always have class consciousness and solidarity amongst each other.
They do.
They do.
Always.
Yeah. That is a good point.
Mm-hmm.
That is, I've never heard somebody say that, but it's so fucking true.
Yep.
The
We need
ruling
solidarity
class
because they
always
do.
has class consciousness.
Warren Buffett has a whole thing about it. He has a quote that he has absolute class consciousness. He goes, "The reason we're winning is because y'all don't."
Wow.
Real.
They never called it class war until, even though they've been waging it for over 100 years at this point. They never called it class war until we started actually fighting back.
Mm-hmm.
So just keep that in mind too.
Okay.
But yeah, even if you passed it, I don't think it would work. I think a policy like that, it gets undermined, it gets loopholed. You'd have the employers
There'd be
owning
so many
half the
cutouts.
houses.
Oh
You'd
yeah,
have-
BlackRock would just open grocery stores.
And if it was,
This is why James annoys me.
He's right.
We're all having our
just wait
sunshine
until
and
Whole Foods
rainbows,
gets
and
bought
he's
by
like, "Let me
BlackRock."
pee in you."
But I'm not saying it's hopeless. I think the vibe is possible. I don't think it's possible like that.
Couldn't
though.
Mamdani roll that out in New York?
I think you got to approach the problem from a different direction.
Sure.
You didn't answer the question.
I'm getting there. No, he couldn't. Because first of all,
No,
it's
but
a-
he doesn't have-
he doesn't have W with him.
It's even if it's still not an idea that would fundamentally work. Even if you wrote an absolute loophole-proof, perfect legislation for it, right? There would immediately be a very coordinated campaign to get it overturned or at least severely weakened. Like, even if you got that in, it would only last a couple of years.
Is this the
Yeah.
one
And you
where
know
I go,
what?
the people united will never be defeated?
And it does, and it comes back to the ownership class having solidarity.
Yes.
Because it would be immediately fought.
Yep.
Even if it was popularly won,
Yeah.
the powers that be would go, no,
Well, that's
then-
what we're dealing with here in Green Bay, because we've got the STR shit, but we have to deal with the fact that the STR people are united into this STR alliance.
Like,
It is wild what they do. I
Yeah.
was like, damn, the landlords are organized.
Yeah.
Fuck me.
Which is why I keep bringing out that Mao had a pretty good landlord policy. If you don't know what it is, look it up.
And there's another layer to it
Rough.
too. Like, I know some of y'all know your history. What happened immediately after suffrage gave women the right to vote? Like, immediately.
White women, no, that was before. I apologize. I was gonna say white women stabbed black women in the back, but that was before we actually got the right to vote.
Also, they constantly do that.
That was a
I
sacrifice.
mean, that happened. That
To
happened
gain
all
us.
the way to the civil rights era. No,
Yeah.
no.
What
The
specific?
first thing that happened after suffrage gave women the right to vote was the rise of the flappers, an entire generation of women who refused to give a single shit about any of the rights they just won.
Yep.
And that's like, you get people into a good place, they will immediately stop caring about politics.
Well, I think
But
that's
I'm
what
not
we're
saying
seeing with
this
An
is
tradwives.
uneducated,
I think
unorganized.
that this is a very tradwife thing, right? So like I lived in the like pinup world for a long time, and like the pinup to tradwife pipeline, strong as fuck. It goes.
I'm not surprised,
It
honestly.
goes right through Crunchy world.
I was gonna say the crunchy to Nazi pipeline is a creepy
The
one
Crunchy
too.
to Nazi pipeline is wild.
There's a phenomenal YouTube video essay, The Crunchy Girl to Tradwife Pipeline.
Yeah.
We have a lot of pipelines.
Yeah.
There are.
Yeah, there sure is.
And then they spill their bullshit everywhere, and it sucks.
That is how pipelines work, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's just really wild how many women have figured this nonsense out, and it's specifically women, not non-binary people, not because I feel like the rest of those folks tend to have some amount of class consciousness built in because of oppression in a way that is different than like the
Marginalized solidarity.
traditional cis. Yeah.
Yeah.
But specifically, these women, they decide that tradwife is like the life for them, and the amount of pushing that it takes to get them to say, I don't want to vote, my husband should vote for me. It's like
Right.
blowing a feather.
Yep.
Like,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
it is wild how quickly that escapes them, and they go from being this like empowered
Girl boss.
girl boss to I want my husband to vote for me in like 3.5 seconds, and it is really, really quite wild.
Jarring.
Yeah,
Disheartening.
it is jarring. Terrifying.
So, kind of in the interest of time, because I know all of us in a room.
I got one more point.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm almost done.
I didn't
Almost
even get
done.
to talk about my videoing.
I'm sorry.
We can't.
We'll
we
get
will,
there.
we will.
Yeah. Okay.
It's okay, it's very
But
brief.
stay on topic. I think there is a way to accomplish this, but you can't approach it antagonistically.
Correct.
You have, instead of punishing bad behavior, the better approach is to reward good behavior. So I would suggest,
Incentivize?
yes. So I would suggest some kind of policy where you like lay out a geographic area, and every for-profit entity like operating in the area gets tax breaks based on quality of life of the people that live there.
I like that.
So, like, no, they would happily spend, if they're paying 10% tax a year, random example, they would spend 3.5% of their gross to only pay 5.
Yeah.
They would find, like, the power of capitalism, and the reason that I don't think it can be defeated is because it can fucking adapt, it can change, like, as soon as there's money involved
It's a hydra.
in any problem, like the best and the brightest immediately put their entire focus on it. No bullshit.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
you can, and I think it is awful. I think it is awful, right? But I think you can harness some of those aspects to make people's lives better.
I mean, just to push back a little bit, I think you definitely can make people's lives better, but like with like a specific example of that, like there's nothing with that that's built in that would stop, you know, a corporation still from monopolizing, right? You know, or paying their workers like shit just so that they can marginally make their water better, you know?
Yeah,
Like,
where are your metrics
right,
for that quality of life?
exactly. But that's something we could talk about on
I do
a,
like the idea, though.
yeah, on a different
More
episode.
carrot and
Emma was also doing something vital at No Kings and was documenting basically the entire thing.
Literally the last like 15 minutes was all we missed, and I was so mad.
Which was all of the call to actions.
Yeah, exactly.
Ah, damn.
How?
Yep.
What was that like? How was that?
Well,
we can maybe have the VOD, link to the VOD.
And I think we have somebody that's going to edit it all together too, so it's like snappy like the Broadview video. But there's probably a lot of shots in there of me seeing random dogs and going, "Ooh, puppy," because that happened.
I mean, you're gonna get a lot of viewers off that. So
yeah,
you're good.
Fair.
That happened a lot, and my favorite one was the one that had the sign on him that said,
"Sentry's not true."
Yes, thank you.
Sorry.
Stealing my
show
thunder
that
over here.
I was really
Thank you for
important
paying
question.
attention, though. But yeah, send treats, not troops, which was fantastic. I
do
loved him.
love that.
Important
my
question:
day.
are the cats at your shelter going to be mad at you for that?
Ooh.
No, because they have no idea.
What if
They'll
somebody? What if
smell
somebody
it
leaks
on
it?
you.
Oh
Yeah.
no! I've
What if I show 'em the video?
I've had a bath since then because I'm not too much of a sewer goblin, but
But yeah, I mean,
You
so
need a clean goblin.
it
Mostly girly.
is important to document
Yeah.
everything going on.
there was also a guy that took pictures of like everybody, and he wanted to get one of me because I had my Palestine flag and my America glasses and all that, and I was like, yeah, sure. And you know, camera's still rolling meanwhile, and he asked me. This was honestly my favorite part.
Oh, this
He
one.
asked me what the flag was from,
Oh
and
my
I
God.
said it's Palestine, and he said, "Oh," and I was like, "Yeah, it's to show solidarity for the genocide happening in Gaza," and he was like, "Cool. Are you from Pakistan?"
So close. Effort points.
And that brings me into the final thing that I wanted to address.
It's a great segue.
Where do we go from here?
Not to Pakistan.
Not to
Well,
Pakistan.
yes, but with people like that, still,
Yeah.
where do we go from here after No Kings 3? Especially, we could talk nationally, we could talk in our specific locality.
So you're saying like what's next, or what's next with those folks who are just
Presumably-
Yeah,
No
I mean,
Kings
how
4.
do we...
Yes, and.
Yeah, right.
I would love to hear.
Yeah.
I have ideas, but I would
Okay.
love to hear your ideas.
Okay, the realist in me says, not international relations realist. Yeah. The realist in me says that No Kings as a movement is specifically designed to create just enough motivated people to guarantee a good Dem turnout in the midterms.
Yep.
That's exactly what it is.
That's now people can make
It is
it
a
more
pressure
than
valve.
that or less than that, but I think that's the purpose. That is like the grand design.
I fully agree. I think it's a pressure valve. I think it's at a large scale view, 35,000 foot view for whatever powers that be are behind, with No Kings. That is their goal is to redirect otherwise revolutionary energy into more mainstream avenues. It's why you see Bernie Sanders speaking at a No Kings rally. It's why you see other elected national officials speaking at these things. It's why you see Bruce Springsteen saying that billionaires suck and he's worth 1.2.
Right.
I mean, at this point, because of Wanda Siebert, the Democratic Party of Brown County is deeply tied to Indivisible to a point that
Almost
they can't be
inextricably.
separated.
Yeah.
So.
And so I think,
And,
but it
and
provides
so
such
goes
an
all of the
opportunity.
other, a lot of other Indivisible chapters.
Yes, yeah.
Are
Oh yeah, this is a
inextricably-
widespread.
Oh yeah, yeah.
There's a reason that everybody thinks No Kings is an indivisible movement.
Yep.
It's because Indivisible has worked hard at a national level to project that.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
Yes.
that's why I like what our coalition did. We did not deny them a seat at the table. We said, send your delegate.
Yeah.
But everybody's going to have a voice on this because, and like tying into what we spoke earlier about Labor Day, or with May Day.
We should have another
No
conversation
Kings is
about
not.
that, friend.
Well, no, I'm saying like with No Kings is not
Yeah.
in somebody's wheelhouse. It's
Yeah.
all of our wheelhouses. So that
Yeah.
and so I think
No Kings is
locally,
about solidarity.
what's next is we're answering that question,
Yeah.
and other organizers need to talk to the people who are doing the work, and make sure that they're having these follow-ups to answer what's next, and give these people direction that isn't just
Show up
to the voter
4
booth.
times a year.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is one of the things that says in my organizer bio is about giving people the opportunity to engage politically beyond the ballot box. And that's something that I feel is very real. But I also want to say, like, you know, for me, one of the things, obviously, I see No Kings as like a place to collect leads. I see it as an on-ramp. You talked about that earlier tonight. One of the things for me, as far as like where we go from here, is a key challenge that I think that we all face as organizers is making sure that we have a tiered approach available for people.
Yeah.
So like there are people that like really need the like let's break it down Barney style.
Beginner, intermediate, advanced type of thing.
They need the education. And also I got a lead the other day at No Kings, and I'm so excited to connect with her. I got a second one that I'm also really excited to connect with. And these people are like ready to start running with us.
Hell yeah.
Hell
Like
yeah.
full speed
That's
ahead.
awesome.
They are ready. They are not plugged in. They want to be. They have enough experience behind them. Like when I found Pete, had enough experience behind him that when he was able to slide into DSA, he was able to kind of just hit the ground running with us.
Yep.
And that's why he was able to become co-chair in only 6 months, is because of his previous experience. And so it's also finding those and making sure that we have programming available for those, and that we're making room in our orgs for those. You know, we are looking at potentially expanding our executive committee with the DSA because we need a space for these people that are ready to lead, and also low key. We have to fix our 50% problem. So any actual like cis women or trans women that would like to join the DSA, we need more women on our board. Just really not men, but women specifically. We are very light on women. You know, it's finding places for those people that are ready to run. And it's also finding places for those people that are kind of in between, you know, through these connections, through this coalition building and everything. There's somebody that is wanting to come into DSA who's already an organizer in her own right. But she is not quite where we're at on a lot of things.
Yeah.
And so, like, she is also in an educational phase, but she's not in Barney phase.
Right.
And, like, we need to also be able to meet her where she's at.
Yeah.
And also be comfortable with, like, maybe she just doesn't end up agreeing with us on everything, and that's great, and like she's welcome to hang out. But like those assessments are critical, and building the programming that makes sure that those people continue to grow.
Yeah.
And continue to engage in between events and continue to engage beyond the ballot box is critical.
It's something we are actually doing. So I'm, in addition to Wisconsin Labor Party, I'm a member of the Panther Party, which is an auxiliary to the Black Panther Party. We have a robust political education program, and if you're in that level of organization, it is pretty advanced.
Yeah.
But we
For
are
real.
seeing a lot of people that need more entry level.
Yeah.
And so we've just evolved a new curriculum, I guess, for lack of a better word, but it is intercommunalist. So it's not just Black Panther run it. We have Black Panther Party, Brown Berets, Young Lords are back, and a couple other multi-tendency organizations all came together to make what they're calling the People's Corps.
Nice.
And so now you're bringing in these other orgs that have overall similar aims, different platforms, and getting them, okay, where do you land on this education scale? All right, slot into these classes, tell you, you know. And so I think you're right where you need to have a sliding scale of education.
Right.
Because you need to constantly engage your people.
That's what I was going to kind of say, at least for me, is that I definitely agree with what you guys had said about, the midterms, obviously, and I think that that's a phenomenal first step. But I think so, too, tying into what you were saying, Garnet, it is, I view No Kings, and especially after the most recent one, as a way of gauging where the masses are at.
Yep.
And
It's a thermometer.
right. And so, after the first two, if we would have attempted what we would have done for the second one, I don't think it would have had the same effect that it did this time. So I think that it's a way of, at least the way I look at it, is gauging how advanced people are, and what they're ready for.
I'll tell you right now, though, 18 months ago, if you had told me Green Bay was ready to take the street,
yeah,
with as many people as we had, I would have
No.
called you a liar.
Same thing.
Yeah.
24 months ago, I said the same thing. I was like,
Not a chance.
we're not doing that.
You guys have 30 people at your events.
Yeah, that's
Between
literally
all the orgs.
Yeah, literally.
And
Like,
15 of them are all in all the orgs.
Yeah.
in 22, which was when I joined DSA, it was at an event. It was at a march, and it was I actually would estimate that one was about like 60-ish.
Yeah.
And we had like a bunch of different orgs together, like including like OWR was there.
Yeah. Oh, sure.
Like truly, like a lot of people were there for that event, and like they somehow had a meetable horn, but that event, like it was so super real. I'm like, we're not taking the street.
Yeah, you can't.
We're sitting on the fucking sidewalk here, guys.
Yep.
And
And now
that's-
we're sitting here with,
That's fine.
what
No, we're
was it,
sitting here
15 or 33? Was it 1,500 or 3,000?
Right.
I did think it was very. I will save that for after the show. But
Yes.
I will say, I agree with your assessment that it was probably between 2,000 and 2,500. I think that that's an accurate
We were
assessment.
talking about that earlier.
Yeah, and I
said-
think that
we had 15 at Alex Preddy.
Yeah, it was
And
way
there
bigger than
way
15.
more than that.
Yeah, it was way bigger than 15. And
However, it wasn't 5,000, so my estimates
It was
are
a fight
off.
back 5.
It wasn't. It
Yeah.
certainly, and I will say, it was smaller than No Kings 2 in Green Bay, where all of us were on one, and that was, 4,000. But based on my numbers, I kind of just think that like,
Between
so
the two, we
DePere
still
one
got
had
more
1,000,
split.
and we had,
About
2,500. I kind of think that we
And it was
just,
colder.
and it was a lot colder.
Yep.
The October was a beautiful day.
Yeah,
Oh my God,
it was
it
a
was so
weird
nice.
October and a perfectly on brand
It was
March.
a day where I was
Yep.
just like, yes, the earth is on fire.
Yeah, no,
also,
that
I
was
wore
it.
some sunblock.
Yeah.
I was at Lansing's event, and the amount of people that came up were like, "Isn't this great?" I'm like, "No, this is bad."
I want you to know that the earth is dying.
Like it's October 18th in Michigan, and we're wearing shorts.
So
We gotta.
we got two
Yeah.
people effort to kind of wrap up here. Emma, do you have anything?
Emma, you need a line.
Well, I didn't get to say fuck Ronald Reagan yet, so fuck Ronald Reagan.
Yes.
Yes.
All right.
And Pete, I know, wanted to say.
It's past.
Okay.
Okay. I got. So, closing thoughts. Both of you, could you, in a couple minutes, can you tell me one thing you felt went really good about No Kings, and one thing that could have been better?
Sure. I think things that went really good. I think that our speaker lineup was great.
Yeah.
And I think that it resonated with the crowd. Things that I think could have gone better. I realistically needed 20 chant leads and didn't have them. And so, if you're out there and you're listening and you're still just tuning in and sitting online, like,
Come yell at people with us.
get at me. I will train you to chant lead, and
Yeah.
I will do it in a way that is not doing this to your voice. This was a mistake.
And then you can
Or
also
whoever-
because you didn't have
whoever's
20 chant
It's
leads.
because I didn't have 20 chant leads.
And you were
Whoever's in
crossing
your
the Delaware.
locale that
Yeah.
does
Yeah.
does chant workshops.
Yeah.
Jay.
Yeah, what went really well, I mentioned it right at the beginning, it's our safety team.
Yeah.
Our marshals, on the spot
Led by
decision making.
And Dane.
And
Yep,
Dane.
Dane and Lana from GBAC.
And
Yep.
Lana, yeah.
But we had people from, I think, every org
Yeah.
helping out. And
Everybody.
we had great communication, great coordination, especially having to make changes on the fly.
Yep.
I think something that could have gone better, and is nobody's fault, is just lack of access to is sound.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I think even if it had been a little less windy,
Yeah,
could
for
help.
sure.
But we just need a little bit stronger boost to that. But that was just a crunch time thing.
Yeah.
As far as operationally, I think it was almost all positives. I don't really have much for negatives.
Yeah. But in the interest of time, unfortunately, we are going to have to get wrapping up here. Thank you guys, as always, for watching. Surprise guests on this show. We have a surprise guest next show.
Yep.
It'll be
We unmask the AI accuser.
Yes.
I'm really curious.
Yes, and
I say we like I'm gonna be here.
Once again, thank you for tuning in. Obviously, I hate to be the one to say this, but please like, subscribe, comment. It costs you nothing, and it helps the show a lot. Maybe help us fill this back wall behind us with, we're looking for potential sponsors and things like that. So keep up the great work, and as always, get active, get wise, and get organized.
Stay trashy, goblins, and don't be an unfrosted Pop-Tart unless you're the cool kind like Rick Crescent.
That line just gets longer and longer.
I know.
It takes in a whole neighborhood to keep the sidewalks ice-free.
Yes.